Hi, everyone. I am Megan Brinker. I am the EVP of Business Development at the newly formed Tru. A lot of you probably know us as TruQC, or we've been, within this industry working with the NSRP for over 10 years now. But we actually recapitalized last year, and so we're in the midst of a little bit of a rebranding and combining with another software in the midstream traceability market. So, if you ever need more information on that, please let me know. But today we're here to talk about a project that we did. We were one of two projects selected for the NSRP RAP program a couple years ago. And so this is kind of a presentation of our findings and everything that we did with those. So there is a final paper that I would be happy to send along. So please reach out to me or of course, Nick, if you would like to get access to that paper, and we'd love to share that with you and talk more about it for how it could work for your company. Okay, so, I skipped one here. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is a little bit of our background. I think a lot of you might know us, TruQC, but for those of you who don't, here's a few of the things that we've done in shipbuilding and ship repair within this group. So one of our project participants was Vigor Marine. We've been working with them since 2015. We do EH&S and paint quality, amongst other things, on their commercial and Navy work. Bath Iron Works, we do some safety and working on paint quality. Newport News Shipbuilding, we actually replaced their old E4749. BAE Systems, working on a paint quality project and a new 00932, so that's very cool. And then you can see we've actually done 4 previous NSRP projects. 3 of them were all about actually working and to digitalize 00932 or the ship repair form. And then 1 was standardization and digitization of fixed asset or a visual inspection for shipbuilding and ship repair, which was taking a commercial off-the-shelf product that we had for the petrochemical industry and applying it to things that we could use, do it for in shipbuilding and ship repair. The last 2 that we've been working on the last couple of years are 2 NRL projects to basically take data that we've captured over the years and see how it can be used to gain efficiencies and learn from for NAVC, as well as doing optimizing the 00932 system, like ship repair documentation. And we're working on that with the RMC, Advanced Marine Preservation, and BAE in Jacksonville, where all those people are actually working in one account for complete transparency of that paint process. So a really cool report, project that we're working on there, report to come soon on that as well. So our project participants for this one were obviously NSRP. Granted, we were picked out of I think 24. We were picked with 1 other project for that year, so that was great. Fincantieri Marinette Marine, Vigor Marine, EWI, and then ourselves. So a little bit about how I'm going to do this. Wanted to introduce us as first, and then also wanted to kind of give you a little bit about what the project is, then the summary of that project, and then I wanted to actually jump into a demo because I know that's probably what a lot of you are looking for, forward to seeing, instead of just me giving a PowerPoint presentation. And then I'll kind of follow up with the process that we utilize to do this project. So as most of you know, the ones that are in here, weld is a very difficult process. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of individuals that are involved. It's very similar to the paint process in the fact that it's just kind of a beast as you're trying to digitalize it. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to really kind of take the first bite of the apple and really talk about and digitalize all the NDT and inspections related to 00912. So the problem that everyone is having is there's a ton of records QA is very costly, it's inefficient, there's a lot of manpower issues and things. So it's just really difficult to manage all of those things, keep track of it. And so, and I know there's been a lot of people that have tried to do it and not had a lot of luck. So that's what we wanted to try and do, because we believed we could do it because of our work in the paint digitalization. So basically, we wanted to modify our commercial off-the-shelf software to manage output and everything that needed to happen for 00912. We believe that we could improve efficiency and collect all of the QA/QC data, for all of the welds, and just manage the availability of these things much better. So the results of our Optimized Weld Records project where we found that it was proven effective. We wanted to make something, one of our biggest things is making it easy to use for those people on the deck plate in the office. Just want to make sure all the data flows very smoothly. We wanted to take what we had done kind of in paint and make sure it's easy to fill out for the people there. The QA, the Navy, everybody had access to the data that they needed to, et cetera. So what we did was we really improved the efficiency. And I'll show you that with some ROI data here in a bit. Also, we could transmit all of the inspection data very easily. We utilize an iPad to make it easy for those people on the deck plate to do the inspections and to not have to come back to the office and type up their report or to write down the report in the field and possibly lose it. Everything was done on the iPad so that all of the data was available in real time. Main things you received from this are prevention of the costly rework, increased transparency in the welding process, and basically all of the data that you can use for process improvement and to gain efficiencies. So as soon as you standardize and digitize all of this data and the process, all of that data is now available for process improvement going forward, which is obviously a huge part of this process. Some of the benefits that we were able to receive from this project were, first of all, saving time. So from what our partner yards are saying, they believe that they would save 10 to 15 minutes per inspection with just an average of about 30 inspections per ship per day, which could add up to many hours of savings for that ship per day. So a really huge time saving there. Also, if you get audited, so I imagine everybody here on this call has been involved in some kind of audit, and always the paperwork that you need is not in the place that it should be filed, or it's not in the folder on the network that you need. So this allows you to have access to all of your data in real time and we keep it forever for you. So it's just always available on a deck plate in the home office, just available. Also, we can reduce rework. So because of the transparency and the efficiencies gained with utilizing a tablet and things on the deck plate, this allows all that real-time data to be out there so that a supervisor can be looking into inspectors or production folks and actually seeing what is happening on the deck plate so that they can stop something from happening before it costs a ton of money to do the rework on that. So just a huge benefit there as well. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Carney, and he is going to talk about some of the digitalization of 00912 specs, and he's kind of gone through this and marked off how we accomplish that within this project.
Thank you, Megan. So as part of the project, we went through 00912. We went through all the specifications and kind of dug down into any kind of instance of a record. And that chart on the left really breaks down the standards and then by paragraph. And then what we did is had 4 different methods of digitalizing One being an upload and attach. The second being form, where the user can complete questions, add data to the form. Third, a database where the user can contribute to the database, upload multiple forms to create a standardized document. And then lastly, a library where some of these specifications you will want access to out on the deck or wherever you're doing the work. And then you can pull that document up on the iPad itself. So on the left-hand side is just really going through each of those instances and how we addressed it and digitalized it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So now I'm going to pop over. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the product here. And what I will show you first is my iPad screen here. So just give me a second to show that. And so for those of you that are aware of TruQC, so we're native iOS. So the great thing about that is it means it works on or offline. So that if you are inside the ship or under the ship, you're still able to do all of your reporting. So you never have to have a connection to be able to do the reporting. But then as soon as you do get to a connection, all of your information syncs up and saves to the cloud at that point. And everybody probably freaked out because I said cloud. That's okay. We have are in the process of getting CMMC. And then also I have a technology control plan. So that will address most of your security questions if you've got any. So I'm happy to share that as well. So a few things that if you have seen TruQC before, you'll notice it's the exact same commercial off-the-shelf product that we've used previously and for other of our customers. And what we did was we just modified a few things. So the first thing I'll start with is just kind of the job. So what you see here is the job information. This is basically the top eighth of every report you do within TruQC. We work with the customers, and in this case, FMM and Vigor, to talk about what their different permissions were for their different users and stuff. If you have contractors working for you, what you want them to see and what you want them not to see. And so we incorporated all of those permissions in there by yard. Also, kind of like Michael was mentioning, you can add in all of the library documents, things that you want to reference while out on the job site. So it's really nice to have your standard specs, et cetera, all available to you on or offline. And then what we do is, depending on how the yard sets up the hierarchy of their ships, which, just between Vigor and FMM, they were different, but truthfully very similar. But the nice thing is we can customize that by the yard and how that yard sets up their jobs. Also, another thing that I like to mention is we do have an API, application program interface, that allows us to tie in with an ERP system or a proprietary database, engineering database, to bring in all the records from that system into TruQC. So none of this is manual data entry. So as you can see here, I can set up my my boat that I'm working on, and then all of the work items and locations that go along with that. So like I said, they can be automatically imported, or you can manually set them up within the app. Okay, so that's boring setup stuff. Here is where you can reference those library documents on or offline. And then what I will actually do here is show you. So by permission, you see only the jobs that you have access to. So if you're a welder and you have many jobs that you're working on, or if you just have one, that's all you're going to see here. So I select my job, and then here are all the different types of reports that we did for this project. Within the paper and kind of within that thing that Michael just went over, it kind of shows, what standard is in which report, et cetera. But pretty much everything is addressed within these reports. And then If a yard has a custom report or something that they need because it's very yard specific, it's not one of these, we can absolutely do those as well. So I can pick the visual inspection report, but I actually have one. I would just pick it right there, but I'm actually gonna, Evan from Bigger was nice enough to do a few reports for me here. So I just thought I would show those reports and just kind of show what you have here. So I'm not going to go through all of the fields in this report, so because you guys don't really care about that, but I just want to show you that it's very simple to fill out. So because I set these work items and locations in here, you can see that they're available for me to select there. And I can just go through all my drop downs, multi-selects. We've gone through all of these with FMM and Bigger to make this set up specifically for them. And I believe that the items in the middle are the way that FMM uses it, which is why they're not filled out here. But just a very easy way when it needs to be a numeric, it's a numeric keypad when it needs to be a number, it's a date field when it needs to be date, but just a very easy way to kind of fill out the report. So you can see here, this is what he did was I think he took a visual test that he had done and kind of just documented here in TruQC. And it's just a really nice way to fill out the report very quickly, easily. And then of course, there's remarks and signatures that you can put in there, and as many people can sign off on this report as you'd like. So I can just keep adding signatures there. So if you have a contractor, a sub, a prime, the Navy, everyone can sign off on that. The other thing that I like to mention, and you can see here, he actually, this is kind of a sample report that is the actual one that he would have filled out and, written out and then typed up normally. And now he's just done it in TruQC here. And what can happen now is I can actually generate this report. And as soon as you're done filling it out in the field, all of the good clean data is in here. It would be your logo, not mine, all the hard coded information from when we set up the job. And basically only the points that you fill out appear on the report, but it's automatically generated and obviously meant to be brought out onto the deck plate into the ship to do the report so that it's available for you to generate at any time, send off to the people involved, etc. The next report I wanted to show you was the UT report. So a very standard report that a lot of people are used to filling out here. So again, just a nice clean looking report. Just wanted to kind of go through it and kind of show you the different items that we have here. If you're using different types of gauges, this is one aspect of this project that we thought we could improve upon, is possibly on the integrating with some gauges on the paint side. We integrate with a lot of different gauges, and that could be something that we could do in this space as well. You can see it's also dynamic, so it only you can basically add whatever you'd like to. And then you can see here, of course, if you're allowed to add photos on your yard, take a picture of our gloomy day here. You can add those and they go directly into the area of the report that you want them to go into. This is where you have all of your discontinuities, and those can add up if you'd like to. And you can just add as many of those discontinuities as you need there. Of course, we always have remarks and signatures. Basically, the great thing about TruQC is once you know how to do one report in there, you really know how to do them all. So they all kind of work very similarly. We can do different functionality for different types of reports. One of the areas that might be handy is the ability to actually annotate on documents like this. So if I click in here, I could call out the defects or the discontinuities and then actually take pictures of them if I wanted to. Those can actually be tracked all the way to resolution if you'd like as well. So very handy to be able to mark that up. You can also mark up photos there. And of course, when I submit this, I want to generate and just being able to have that report be able to be generated, not have to go back and type it up or mark it down in a black book and then come back and write it up. It's all right there. The inspectors can check on people on what they're doing on the field, all in real time. So last one I'll just show you is just a quick little one. This is an in-process weld inspection, weld surveillance form. And so this is just something, a very basic type of checklist. It was just a little bit different. So I thought I'd kind of show this to you. And it's all of the different areas are disclosure triangles. So you basically fill out when you need to on what's applicable for that type of ship. So just a very basic form, but just nice to have everything in one place available for all of your inspectors and things to do. And then what can happen now is all of this information that you care about can be generated into a summary. So this is a query of any type of data that you need for production or management, et cetera, your meetings, et cetera, audits, any of that information that you would like to pull out from your reporting. What is my percentage of failed welds? Like all of these things can be taken out in what we call a summary. And then you can, I don't really have any data in here to show you, but what you do is you can pick the job and the dates of it, pull out all of that summary of data. That information can go into an ERP or a Power BI or a Tableau, whatever you guys have that you'd like to utilize that. And if you don't have something like that, like a system, and I knew it was going to log me out, there is a, let me log in here really quick. There is a dashboard on our web version. That this is the web version of TruQC. So you can see all of my forms there. And if I want to look at the dashboard, you can see this is kind of a bad one. Obviously, there's no data in here, but what it would do is would take all of this data and put it into charts and graphs that are then available for you. And I know I've got some like a dashboard picture that I can actually show you later on there. So, but this is kind of the web version of TruQC. It works exactly the same as the web. Main difference is this one does require a connection. So one other item that I'd like to mention is that we have our basic, our search. So this is our overarching search tool. So what is cool about this is because if you have a rogue welder or a defect or something that you want to look into, and you know it's somewhere, it's not in the name of this report, it's somewhere inside of it, you can actually use these search features to search inside of each one of these reports to pull out that information. So it's super handy in a time, you know, when you're looking for something and you're not sure where to look, you can search it and actually searches the inside of the report. So it can be very handy in certain situations. So that is a little bit of the demo here. I'm going to actually go back into the PowerPoint here. Okay. And so to kind of wrap up what we're talking about here, basically our approach is pretty much the same with all types of projects like this. So what we do is we call it a discovery. We work with FMM and Vigor in this case to understand their process, their workflow, the reporting, the requirements, the permissions of the people that need access to it, who they want to see things, etc. And then we actually combine it into what we call a requirements document. And this, I'll show you some of the workflows that we do on the next slide here, but we really tried to map it out of the current process, what the new process will be, and then actually give them wireframes of what everything will look like in TruQC. So once they look at the wireframes, that's when they can give feedback and then sign off on those wireframes. We can make any of those changes that they needed. And then from there, we put in the tickets, we start the development. And the great thing about it is Bigger and FMN had a ton of time to actually take the testing version out into the field and use it and see how it worked and say, oh, I love this, but I hated this. Can you change it? And that's all of the kind of feedback that we got, which is always super beneficial because, you can sit in a class conference room all day and say, this is how it should be done. But until you actually get out in the field and do some testing, you're not going to really know what's going to be perfect. So, and then of course, after that, we worked, EWI, Michael and his team put together the report for us. And we of course gave our feedback on that. This is just a little bit of kind of an insight to what we did with the mapping there. So we actually have these process flow charts for new build and for repair, and just to really kind of have a good view of how everything needs to flow. So these were very helpful for us and for them, for everyone to be on the same page so that we gave them a good product in the end. So just in summary, obviously we believe that this project was a huge success. We've got really great feedback and ROI numbers from our partners on this. I don't think there is really anything out there that does things similar to this. And so that's why we're really excited to get this out into the community. And a few other things that we have done as a commercial off the shelf that we thought could possibly be applicable to this are, we do some out of spec flagging, barcode scanning and device integration. We have, having all three parties, subprime, RMC, all work in the same account, really bundling of OQE, just a ton of different things that we've done on other projects that could possibly be applicable to this weld one as well. And then ones that we have really called out that we think could be very handy in this situation would be maybe generation of the WPS gauge integration with some of maybe the different gauges out there for different NDT inspection, out of spec flagging, and certification flagging. We actually do track certs in TruQC already, but just to be able to flag if a welder doesn't have a qualification to do that. And then tracking all of the defects to resolution. And then of course, importing welding standards and specs, which you could of course do on your own within the library, but there could be some automation put to that. So those are some of the items that we thought that potentially we could have another project for, or kind of expand what we've done here into those other items to really capture the entire weld process. And so that is about it for me. So I wanted to let you know, Lindsay Doherty, Director of QA for Bigger, is on the line. He is I'm sorry to tell you, he is in Hawaii, and we've woken him up very early. So I'm really glad that he was able to join us today. So he might be a little tired, but he's been generous to offer his time to answer any questions from the contractor point of view. And on the FMM side, I know Dale is in Italy, so he's on a very fun trip. So I'll just open it up for myself or the other project participants, Michael or Lindsay, to, of course, answer any questions that you may have or that sort of thing. Thank you so much.
Hey, I've got a question. My name is Brian Montion, and we are very familiar with the excellent service provided by TruQC. We use the daily inspection reports quite often. The question for the fabrication team is utilization of the TruQC reports in addition to a process control traveler or a weld traveler that goes through the shop. So how do you integrate those two documents, or how do you use those two documents concurrently?
Yeah, so the weld traveler in the shop.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be something, you know, like any of the processes that we do when we're developing a new product, we would work with you to kind of build that traveler in TruQC, and then we could actually kind of integrate the two reports or maybe possibly many reports with that. So absolutely, we could do that and just have the traveler form be built in TruQC and be able to work in accordance with all of the different NDT and weld reports that you need.
So did Vigor or anybody else on the line can share some OE operating experience? So do you continue with the hard copy in the shop, or does the TruQC replace the need to have the hard copy traveler in addition to the daily inspection report?
Yeah, this is Lindsay Doherty here. Right now, we're doing both, just because we're still demoing the software. But we have had Megan build any sort of travelers like you're talking about into the TruQC as well, so they are able to be fully populated from the iPad. And eventually, we will just go down to utilizing the iPad and then attaching it to the full report as we go. We have the ability to break things down to the work item level, so it's easier to track for us.
So I think that's how we would do it also. We'd keep the hard copy in the field or in the shop. So we would have the signatures, the hold point, the signatures, production hold points and quality hold points. We would initial and date the traveler, the hard copy, and then we would also do the same from the mobile device. And then at the end, the document package turnover, would you attach the traveler into the library at the end of the project, or how would you do that?
Yeah, that would be the end result, is attaching it at the end. Some of these things we have to still work through with our customers on, you know, in some cases they still like to see a pen and ink signature. So we have to work through that new process. So in some of these cases, we still may end up with two documents, but we haven't taken it to the customer for their view. This is the first time some people from the government side are actually seeing this. So there's still some things to work out, but you know, what I would like to see is get to just one document at the end of the day. Right now, we have only been utilizing this through our quality department. We haven't expanded it to the production side, so there is going to be some additional integration there as well.
Very good. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're in the process of developing our well program for our stamp for our stamp for repair and also alterations. And I think what we're going to do is include a digital signature, or allow for that in our program for both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you so much. If you have any questions that you think of, or if you'd like to get a copy of the weld paper for a more detailed view of what we did and the findings that we had, please reach out to me. I'm Megan at TruQC.com. And then also we'll have hopefully have an NRL paper on our work with BAE and AMP and RMC in Jacksonville for the paint, if anyone is interested in that. Thank you so much, and really appreciate you guys all. Oh, Mr. Engel, it looks like you might have something.
This is Steve Duke. I had something after Mark Engel as well.
Okay, great. Thanks, Steve. Said, Megan, do you want to summarize the progress of implementing TruQC for paint? Yeah. Okay. So currently, Mr. Engel has been a huge proponent of helping us get through the process of NSRP and doing the project. So really appreciate his support and all of that. We have done 3 projects with the NSRP for the surface prep and coatings panel. The first one was just straight up digitalization of 00932, which, as most of you know, is about 8 appendices that we did. And then after that, we did out of spec flagging for the different items within those appendices. And then our third project was an implementation project where we would, like Lindsay was kind of talking about, getting people used to signing off on the deck plate. So getting buy-in from the RMCs and from the other Navy personnel that are involved in the project, getting them used to seeing a digital form that isn't like their kind of normal form. And so those projects were, 3 panel projects over the course of about maybe 8 years, maybe 6 years, something like that. I'm not exactly sure. And then we've implemented that at many different yards that are using 00932 in a digital format. The Navy and the RMC are signing off on that digital format. And I mentioned the kind of the NRL project was a new version of 00932, where it maybe doesn't have the same look as the PDF, the old PDF, but it has all the same fields, and it increases transparency between all parties involved for a quicker review of the paint packet. I believe BAE said it was the first time they had ever had the paint, they turned in the paint quality reporting before a ship had left the dock there. So that was a pretty cool feedback from them. And so hopefully, Mark, that I said everything I needed to, but if you have anything else you'd like to add to that, feel free. And in the meantime, I'll answer. George had a couple questions. He said, what are the storage limitations? So you have unlimited storage. If you are working offline, it would just be the storage limitations of whatever iPad that you had, but typically you're going to be syncing up and getting that all synced to the cloud after that. And then server security, like I mentioned, we are in the middle of the CMMC. We are confirmed, we've attested that we are CMMC compliant, but we do have a whole technology control plan that I'd be happy to send over if you want to email me, George, and I will be more than happy to send that over to you and could absolutely answer more questions about that. But we use AWS GovCloud. So, and then TruQC can deliver a tailored product, and this isn't a program that we would have to build to our needs. So we have a framework that we utilize that then we can customize for the different types of reporting workflows permissions that each customer would want. But basically all of our customers use the exact same format, kind of the navigation pane and the web app and things they all work the same way. It's just kind of customing mainly those 3 things: permissions, workflows, and reporting. And so we do have out of the box items like some of the weld and paint things. We do compartment closeout, structural steel inspection that are kind of out of the box items. And then we can do custom forms just depending on each yard's needs. Wonderful. And James, James, is it mentioned, can the program be modified to each company's programs? Absolutely. It can definitely be modified, just kind of like I mentioned before. We've changed those 3 items and then and kind of develop that discovery I talked about, where we look at your process, your workflow, your reporting, and then actually develop a reporting program specifically for you. And it looks like I've got.
I had Nick, Megan, this is Steve Duke. I had Nick put a shameless plug in for the all meeting for anybody who's not registered for that.
Yeah, I will. And that is, thanks for mentioning that, Steve. That's a great idea. And Nick. So I will be at the NSRP all panel meeting in South Carolina. I'm really excited that it's back. I love Charleston. And so I will be speaking there about this project as well. So if you have any questions and you're going to be there in person, I'd love to talk to you there. So please let me know. And then, Mark said way back when, I'm gonna butcher that. I don't know what that stands for. Vice Admiral.
Yep.
Some, Vice Admiral something McCoy did not want TruQC to turn an IT project incompatible with NMCI, which was a real challenge. Is TruQC still using the email with NMCI? So yes, so we have actually, that is something that we have talked about. So I believe right now for most of our clients, they might be using another software to tie in with, I don't know if NMCI is the same or NMD. They're using that to kind of upload the digital documents into that system. But then some of those, some of our users actually have another system that ties into that. So it can just flow through that. Or we can also, I have talked with some people about tying in directly. So that is something we would absolutely be interested in doing as well. So hopefully I answered that question, Mark. And Philippe, did you have a question? I didn't see one.
Yeah, it caught my attention when you passed through the NDT part of it for tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Every vessel, we have a list of specific locations on a vessel that has to be NDT'd,
Mm-hmm.
has to be tested. My question is, can I upload that list into TruQC and then follow up inspections as we move along those specific points? Is that
Yeah. So I don't know if you heard me mention the APIs.
No, I apologize if I missed that part.
Oh, no. And I didn't really specifically say that, but a lot of times in that type of case, we could tie in with an API to that information to be able to pull it in directly into TruQC. There are ways that we can do like CSV uploads of jobs and things like that. But we would probably just see what your current way you work is, and then we could figure out a way to do it, via possibly an upload or an API would be our preferred method. So, but that would be tying in with some sort of database or a website or something like that to bring that data in.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But definitely possible.
Thanks.
Okay, and I see a question from Jason Silva. With M&TE sections in mind, is there a location for consumable serial numbers such as heat numbers or couplet? Yes, I believe that is all in there. So if for some reason it was not in there, we could absolutely add that, but I'm almost positive my iPad just logged out, or else I'd check for you. But absolutely, those things should be in there.
Yeah,
And-
Megan, this is Lindsay. We absolutely put all that stuff in there so that we could track for the M&TE issues.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, and then Don had a question here. Maybe the wrong form, but wondering if there is a vision to create a level of traceability on a by weld basis where each weld would have a unique identifier. So for us, if that is something in place there, I mean, we could absolutely do that. If you would probably want to be using it in the production side of things, and there'd have to be some things put into place, but absolutely we could get to that granularity if that was something that, you know, the customer is wanting. So handling that kind of data is no different than what we do with a lot of other customers. So I believe that could absolutely be something we could get to. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, well, thank you so much for all of your questions. And then, of course, please reach out to me if you have any more questions that pop up or you'd like to see our papers. And then also come visit me at the NSRP panel meeting. I'd love to talk with you in person and show you more of what we've got. Appreciate it.